Hello everyone, I'm Mark Miller and welcome to Kentucky. We're very happy to have you join us at this year's SABTA convention. SABTA is dear to our hearts as it was founded in 1986 by my father and friends. Once you reach our facility, please take a tour, enjoy the beer, bourbon, and barbecue, and the swap meet.
Lockmasters is a family-owned and operated business that truly began back in the 1930s when John C. Miller started doing safe and locksmith work for Diebold. Some years later, and more experienced, John started his company, Safemasters. During World War II, Safemasters was called upon by the federal government for products, advice, and consultation. John not only handled work for the President's bomb shelter, but continued assisting Diebold and Mosler. Many times, Safemasters' progress took second place to that of the federal government's request for protecting classified materials, vital to the country's security. After the war, John began a veteran-approved training program teaching locksmithing and safe lock servicing. John C. Miller dedicated his adult life to the security industry and the protection of his country and its people by designing new locking devices. His contributions of time and energy, not to mention his many technical advancements and inventions, have made him a legend. John's son, Harry C. Miller, worked beside his father and began his career in security at a young age. He was 16 when he installed his first bank vault on his own. Then he spent 2 years with his father installing vaults for the National Archives in Washington, D.C. Harry learned a lot of skills working with his father. This helped him become the great inventor and manipulator that he was famous for. It was his father that introduced him to using scopes in safe opening, which even today is one of the safe technician's best tools. In 1947, Harry began collecting his now famous lock collection. It was at this time that the State Department was trying to develop a better safe lock. Harry once said, "A lot of people thought the lock collection was just a lot of pretty locks. Well, that was not my purpose for starting it. If I was to develop a good lock and have it available for the improvements of security for our government, I had to study everything being used and find their weaknesses. My collection was based entirely on what makes a lock function." Harry spent many years mastering lock manipulation and developing manipulation-resistant locks, like the M6730, predecessor to the S&G 8430 MP and the 8088 padlock, which versions are still manufactured by Sargent & Greenleaf today. During Harry's time at S&G, he had an apprentice, his son Clayton Miller. Both men served as president of S&G over the years. Harry was an inventor and educator like his father because they understood the importance of training for the growth of the industry. In 1955, Harry C. Miller, James Taylor, and Leonard Singer founded Lockmasters for the purpose of offering correspondence courses in lock manipulation and safe lock servicing. After a few years of referring students to other companies for tools and supplies, Harry began finding and even developing the tools they needed. It was that kind of commitment to customers' needs that made Lockmasters stand apart. In 1982, Clay Miller took ownership of Lockmasters from his father and moved the company from Florida to Kentucky. Clay had big plans for Lockmasters. He wanted to expand course offerings, and like his father and grandfather, he continued developing and producing locks and service tools for the ever-changing security industry. Once in Kentucky, Lockmasters began in the basement of Clay's home, and his son Mark, after working for Lagarde and U.S. Security Safe, joined Lockmasters. At that time, there were 5 employees, including Clay and Mark, and the warehouse was a 2-car detached garage. After a few years, they outgrew the space and moved about 10 miles into a 13,000 square foot home, which everyone called the White House. Clay lived upstairs, and the 5 employees worked out of the basement. The warehouse was again a 2-car detached garage. As the staff grew and the product lines expanded, Lockmasters took over the entire house and moved into a larger warehouse. In 1997, Clay followed his passion of education, building the 11,000 square foot Lockmasters Security Institute facility. Mark continued focusing Lockmasters' attention on the growth of manufacturing and distribution of locks, tools, and equipment. In 2001, Mark began recruiting the best in the automotive locksmith industry to expand into the rapidly growing and ever-changing automotive locksmith industry. In 2003, Lockmasters acquired Steve Young's Tech Train. In 2005, Mark bought Lockmasters tool and equipment from his father, Clay. In 2009, the company moved into their current 30,000 square foot facility. Mark bought the LSI Education Division from his father, Clay Miller, in 2013, which included the second location in Woodbridge, Virginia. With Mark acquiring both Lockmasters and LSI, Clay starts Lockmasters Technology Institute, LTI, to focus on product research and development and highly specialized government training. In 2016, Lockmasters Security Institute and the Harry C. Miller Lock Collection moved into a new state-of-the-art 20,000 square foot facility attached to Lockmasters Tool and Equipment Facility in Nicholasville. Lockmasters introduced the Little Black Box Safe Lock Opening Tool in 2016. It was designed to eliminate the need to drill the most popular brands of electronic safe locks due to malfunction or lost combination. Lockmasters continue to develop updates to include other popular locks. In 2018, Lockmasters moved its education facility from Woodbridge, Virginia to Annapolis Junction, Maryland, and added an 8,000 square foot distribution center to allow for next day shipping to the Washington, D.C. and surrounding areas. Lockmasters gets GSA approval and introduced its FFL 2890B second generation LKM 10K high security pedestrian lock series, replacing the LKM 7000 lock series. The LKM 10K series now offers for the first time a panic bar model to meet additional life safety requirements. In 2018, Lockmasters improved its previous GSA-approved drill rigs to develop the Magnum Bolt Buster 2. This rig is much safer for the technician as well as significantly faster. It contains all debris, sparks, and smoke that occur in cutting the bolts on a container. Lockmasters received GSA approval on the new style hard plate security box in 2019. This new design is the first for the United States government, which incorporates a glass relocker feature. The Millers have always been educators and innovators, whether in a classroom or business. Over the last 80 years and 4 generations, they have shared their knowledge and innovations to help create some of the most qualified security technicians and equipment in the industry. Thanks to all our sponsors.